you are loved. You are loved in a space, and that sometimes it might not look that way because it can be difficult in the space and doors may shut in your face. But know, one, you are protected by God. And then two, that you have a bigger calling on your life and it's not done yet. You are meant to be a bridge. You are meant to be fluent and fill the gaps and make sure that the unvoiced is heard and that you're able to advocate on their behalf. I will also tell myself to invest, continue to keep investing, invest in myself, invest in the stock market, invest, invest in your education. Surround yourself with people that truly love you and want to see nothing but the best. Make sure that you are pouring back into others as they reciprocate that and pour back into you. And just remember that it's not meant to be easy.
Hey yo, G Dash, boy, take your hat off. Fine. This week on Hats Off with G Dash Jones. Yay, hey, hey, hey. Woo! You are watching Hats Off with your boy G Dash Jones. Woo! Gotta hit the ugly face on it. Woo, you hear that? That's that and Latreece. Thrill me. Hold on. Skirt! Woo, woo! Again, that is today's theme music. That is Miss Ann Latreece. Thrill me. Go and listen to that now. Shouts out to Ann Latreece and the Best Kept Soul. Shouts out to them. Again, that's her new single. First single out. It's a vibe. Go and peep it. Also, you are watching Hats Off with your boy G Dash Jones. Oh. Okay, now, today, woo, and I tell you about today's guest. Oh, man. Hold chest, y'all. I gotta hold my chest just a little bit. Because this woman, when I tell y'all she do all the things, I say, she do all the things. When I say all the things, but you might not know what the things are, right? So we could talk about the real estate and management and all the things, but they go into community development and helping the youth. And then there's Just Play, which opens up to being Play Streets. That's a whole nother lane, right? Which also, because now we talk about the youths. Listen, I could connect all these dots. But now we get into the youth. So now we got the women to learn and collect it, right? Now we're there, right? But don't get me started on what's happening with the school district because she got some involvement there. Shouts out to Kenyon as well. And I know when we're gonna run the ad. So here's what's gonna happen. I ain't mad. That's the household move. So, but before we get into any of that, let's start off backing up. Tell people just a little bit about yourself. They might not know, in
Oh
case they
man.
don't know.
Well, good evening. I am Starr Wilson, and some people know me from various reasons in the community, but mostly lately because I sit on the board of the Wilmington Learning Collaborative, which is also known as the WLC. I also sit on the board for Habitat for Humanity, Newcastle County. I'm also an employee of Cornerstone West CDC, which is Community Development Corporation, and I've been with them for about 3 years. And I started off this work really just a passion of giving back to the community. Volunteerism is something that is like ingrained in me since I was a young lady and I was a debutante. So that was something that I strived in at a very, very young age. And so just volunteering and helping with priming the bridge, I connected with Sarah from Cornerstone West and we hit it off. And from there, it kind of had taken on a new life. And I was already rolling out with Just Play. And so I was promoting Just Play as it being a community resource of the things that I was doing for my family. I do have 4 children and they are from 16 to 8. And I'm married to my husband, Kenyon, who is running for the Brandywine School District, shameless plug, for the board. And so it was something that I was passionate about. I really wanted to make sure that parents and guardians understood that there are free resources out here in the community and we could just show up. We can take those spaces and we could have fun. for a fraction of cost. And so I was doing that on my own with my own children. And I would sometimes drop it on Facebook or Instagram. And a lot of people kept on asking me, where did I find these things? And so that's really kind of like the nutshell of where Just Play came from. And that kind of tapped into like who I am. It just, how do I have fun in the spaces that I have to show up in? So as a parent, how do you have fun? As work, how do you have fun? Like, how do you continue to feed your inner self, but still also give back to other people? So that's kind of like a little nutshell of who I am.
Wow. Okay. Now what she did, and I like it. I'm just telling y'all, right? The way that she gave it to you is real onion style. We about to peel back some layers, y'all. We about to peel back. I let her go. You see what I'm saying? I could have stopped
So
it
listen,
earlier.
I did
No.
that on purpose because I'm like, listen, again, there is not just one. I'm all. So
What? All of them.
yeah,
Okay.
all.
Gotta catch them on. See a whole Pokemon collection walking around here. Okay. Okay. So let's start peeling back these layers a little bit.
Okay.
So, with that said, you said since you were young, you were a debutante, and that was given. What is that? What was that like? Tell us about that thing, and how did that get you into even caring
Oh,
about the community? Because that feels
man.
like pinky up, and I drink expensive teas as a youth.
Okay. So I was a Deb, class of '02. Shout out to Howard High School of Technology. And I knew I wanted to be a debutante. I knew I wanted to have an understanding of grace and how to carry myself as a young lady. But I always felt like I was supposed to be in the community. I've always said that I wanted to find my calling, and one of my callings is being a bridge, like connecting resources to the community, touching people that don't understand or don't know how to get these resources. And so, one of the things as being a debutante, you are required to do community service. And I end up placing second place or first place. I can't really remember because it's 20 plus years now. But I did place and win a scholarship because of just giving back. And you have like some 20 hours or 30 hours. I can't really remember exactly how many hours you have to achieve at the end before the ball, but I was able to max out my hours by just showing up. And so that was something early on in high school that I truly knew that I enjoyed just doing. And it could be a various of things: feeding the homeless, picking up trash, standing outside handing out flyers, or going to a soup kitchen. It's a various of different things that I have done in the community. And again, I've been doing it such a long time that it just comes second nature. And so
Now, hold on. So, a debutante is some focuses on like etiquette and
yeah.
like. So okay, and that's a program that you were in school. That was there was a debutante program in Howard.
So it wasn't in Howard. So the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the AKAs, they had a program called Debutant.
There.
And so it's a very traditional, honed into our urban communities where we go in and we find young ladies who are, and I'm saying we, and I'm talking about me as a sorority, a part of a D9 organization, but we go inside of schools and we try to find young ladies and educate them about their wealth of understanding who they are internally and how to build that up. And so one stepping stone in my life when I was younger, the AKs did that. And so that's where the definition came from. It was workshops. We learned how to do the waltz. We learned how to eat properly and to how to sit and how to greet someone. And you go through these understandings of a womanhood. And so I'm grateful for the debutante program. And that also allowed me to show up in my authentic self because you had to.
Wow. So okay, so then you learn all these things, this grace and all this stuff, and then you said, you know what? Because we got to give back. I'm gonna give back. I'm gonna pick up trash with grace. Like you was able to, like because you see what I'm saying. Like if you pick up trash, you gotta squat a certain way with the side to the toe.
All,
Bit when you picking up the
all of that,
trash.
listen, that goes out the window. Okay. That goes out the window. You don't pick up trash with grace. You just jump in there because there's a time and a place for this. I am. not ashamed of where I came from. I came from the hood. I've lived a rough life, but there's also a time and a place that you can turn it on and turn it off. And I think that's where you have to understand life of, I can be this person at this time and I can be another person at another time. And so learning that at an early age really gave me the opportunity to say, I can go out here and pick up trash, throw on a baseball cap and some sneakers and do what I need to do in a community, but I can turn around and throw a face of makeup on and a dress and be a lady. So it's that, give and take. And even in this space now where I'm at with community development, most of the times, if you do see me right now, I'm wearing sweatpants, I'm wearing jeans, I'm wearing a hat, or, I'm supporting some type of endeavor that we're doing at that moment. But then I'm showing up at events and I'm putting on a dress and I know how to act and I know how to be a young lady. And so it's an appropriate time and place for everything.
Shouts out to everybody who say the word act with a T. Now,
listen, if you are a true Delawarean, okay, there are certain words that you say, okay. I don't want to hear no one say Concord. It's not Concord. It's Concord. Okay. We say water. Okay. There's
Concord
a
Avenue
okay.
sounds crazy. Listen, yes, please never say, don't go down Concord Ave and say Concord Ave. I
There you
don't
go.
think it's safe. Like, I just don't want, I don't, like, that is not safe for you. I don't want you to put yourself in that position. I don't
That's
care who you are. Like, I want everybody to be safe on Concord Avenue. Now, but now, okay, but okay. With that said, did growing up in the city and around all the city things, did that influence you in your community development to like want to kind of pursue that? Do you think that that played a part?
you know, I want to say yes, but also no. I've always saw myself in social work. And so
Ooh,
I did pursue that. I do have my degree in human service with a concentration in criminal justice, because at some point I also saw myself as being a police officer. And at one point in my life, I did try to be a police officer. That's something a lot of people don't know. But I've always saw myself being a servant. So let's start with that. Serving the community in one aspect or another. And so social work really spoke to me at that point of time. And then I realized that I had something better, like there was something else that I could be serving in a different capacity. So I got into mediation. I got into family court mediation. And
ooh,
that took a whole nother level of understanding disputes and seeing the community in a different way. And so I did that for 3 years and I fell in love with that. And then once I did that, I wanted to stop for a moment. I felt burnt out. And when you give and constantly give, sometimes you just feel like you have nothing else to give and you can't pour from an empty cup. And so I decided to pivot. And for a very short period of time, I went corporate America. And, and you know what? God said, sit down. And he sat me down. COVID happened. I got laid off and I went back to my roots. And when I went back to my roots of cleaning and picking up trash and showing up for other organizations and just giving of my time volunteering, a whole new door opened for me. And I remember when I started working with Sarah, I started off doing housing, a small portion of housing, and all of open streets. And so it was spearheaded by Laura Wilburn, who's the CEO, the executive director of Urban Bike Project, and myself. And we were tag teaming doing open streets. And the more I kept talking about how much I enjoy conversations around housing and I wanted to be exposed more to housing, I got those opportunities. And that just really came out of me doing open streets and knocking on the door of residents and them welcoming me into their home to even talk to them about this community event and then just asking them random questions about their house, like how things are going, or they're asking me, do I know resources in the community that could help them because they have a hole in their ceiling?
mm.
Or they are looking for mold restoration. Like it was really by a fluke, all of this came about. And then I started immersing myself in it. I started surrounding myself with amazing people that does this work on a daily basis. I started reading about it. I started taking classes. And so now 3 years in, I am almost certified. I'll be certified this year because I'm claiming it. I take my tests. I'll be certified as a community developer. And so what that means, I'll be working with organizations throughout the community by supporting affordable housing and advocating as I am now, in DC or in or anywhere else to make sure that fair, equitable housing is for everyone. And so that's what I'm really trying to do, is make sure that laws that are passed, regulations that speak to the people that will affect. And so I want to make sure that we're building a legacy for families that truly need this more than the Trumps in the world. Okay. We really need to speak to the people that look like you and I, that are trying to build something for our children to stand on top of. And so that's what I'm ultimately trying to do with this role as a real estate and housing developer. It's not about the money, and sometimes it's not about the glam. It's really about the work and the longevity that you're putting in for other families. And so that's what I'm trying to do in a space.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So since you brought up the Orange Bowl, I gotta ask you, okay? Okay. Being in community development. Now, mind you, so full disclosure to the world, when me and you first had this conversation, I guess it was last year. A lot of stuff has changed since me and you first had a conversation about the community development, and you told me some of these things that you do, and you was like, "Yeah, she ain't saying like this," but you was in the trenches talking to them about you was handling it, and I said, "Oh wow, you." He's like, "No, yeah, I'm in it." No, I said, "Oh, you in it." Now, since then, how is it like navigating community development with so many policy changes on a grander scale, with different leadership, local and abroad, and nationally? Does any of that kind of affect how you do what you do?
So as of right now, it doesn't affect us internally. But the trickle effect, it is a ripple effect. Let's start there. So it's not affecting me at Cornerstone at this moment, but it ultimately will. I'll give you an example. Today, I had a conversation with an individual who called to ask for some repair assistance. And I know these other organizations have federal dollars that are tied up at this moment because of our administration, and that they are not able to offer assistance in home repairs, but typically they are. So during my conversation with this resident, I am apologizing that I know that at this moment, no one could help you because there are no fundings. And so she understood that. She also comes from this world of working in social work. So she's dealing with the same thing on her end. But as a resident in the community, she was going through a hardship. And it's hard to talk to people who are, one, giving of themselves constantly for others, but you can't receive assistance for yourself. So it is very difficult to show up knowing that sometimes our backs are against the wall, and we want to continue to keep showing up. So people like my team from Westside Grows Together, Jefferson Street Center, all of these organizations, these amazing organizations throughout the city, we're continuing to fight because we know that the things that we have put in place, the things that we have advocated for, has made a difference in our community, big or small. And it doesn't matter, no matter where you're at, on Market Street, on Boehner Boulevard, on Walnut Street, on 4th Street, you can see the difference. If you know this city, if you know this community, you can see how different it looked from 10 years to 5 years to today. And so we're going to continue to keep fighting for a difference. And so yeah, our administrative is making it harder, but let's be honest. We used to being it hard, okay? We are so used to and overcoming it. And so at this moment, I just see it as another hurdle for us to cross, and we will.
Now, I'm glad. See, you heard that, y'all. I ain't gonna say that y'all heard it sound like a speech, didn't it? Like she got that off. I ain't mad. That was one of those. They're about to run through a wall right now. People saving the world. So now, but I do want to ask about some of the highlights as we peel back this onion. So when we think about it, right? So those of you in the back who don't know, CDC, Cornerstone West, West Side Groves, Western Neighborhood House. It's a world of things that do a lot. That
Yeah.
do a lot and shouts out to Sarah. Everybody loves Miss Lester. Shouts out to Paul. Most people love Paul. If they don't, well, he don't care. Okay, no Paul. Just telling you, no Paul.
True.
Okay.
True.
Now, but the amount of things that are done, that are given back in the community, right? You mentioned doing home repairs. What are some of the other initiatives that you've been a part of, that kind of stick out to you within that sphere?
Well, let me first explain because I know there are some few people watching and they don't know the difference. So, West End Neighborhood House is located on the west side of Wilmington. And so, outside of West End Neighborhood House, there was a relationship built between St. Francis Hospital. And so, St. Francis Hospital and West End decided that they wanted to really take up their community and wanted to make sure that residents knew that they were seen and heard by offering home repairs and doing some development and acquisition. And so birth Cornerstone. And so Cornerstone West CDC, which is Community Development Corporation, we actually now decided to go into the community and support the initiative that was put forth by St. Francis Hospital in West End. Now, talking to the communities, they really wanted to see a lot of beautifications. They wanted to see some improvement that are facades or economic development. And so that came West Side Grows Together. And so we became the fiscal backbone of West Side Grows Together. And that's how you see the murals or the planters or the banners or even the streetscapes that has been updated on the west side of Wilmington. That's where all of that came from, that initiative. And so I've kind of supported a little bit of everything. And just most recently, the one we're proud of is that we just put a mural inside of St. Francis Hospital in the lobby. And so if anyone goes inside of St. Francis Hospital, we had some amazing artists from the community came and did it. And when I tell you, it took them no time to put that up. And when I tell you, I reached out to them in a 2-month span and they had this beautiful mural up in no time, in time for their centennial. And so they celebrated 100 years at St. Francis. And so that means it was 100 years in the community. In any capacity you can think of, they have showed up. And so now they are reinvesting into the communities over the last 100 years with housing. And so they have supported us. Along with that, I've been a part of Open Streets. A lot of people, again, know me from being a part of Open Streets, as my kids call me, especially my daughter. This is Miss Open Streets. I'm Miss Open Streets. And so that's an initiative to really support an education around healthy communities and how we can encourage residents to take back their streets, and not just only for vehicle, but also for bike lanes and for pedestrians. And so there's a healthy lifestyle to open it up to just all forms, not just one. And so Open Streets, again, I tell people it looks like a block party on the top, on on the scenes, but ultimately we are having conversations with residents about what do you want to see. Should we add a bus stop? Should we add a speed bump? Should we add stop signs? These are questions that we're asking residents, on how we can support them taking back their community. How can you get to know your neighbor? And it's surprising that when we shut down the streets temporarily during Open Streets, residents are meeting each other for the first time. They are exchanging numbers. They're sitting in the street. We have DJ Tim Dog, who's amazing. He's a part of our steering committee. He is out here blasting the music. And I mean, we have a great time and it's all fun. Like, it's all greatness. All our partnerships that we have, like with the Walnut Street YMCA on Walnut Street, we're having, or we have it in front of on Bauer Street with the Kingswood Community Center. So we have many different entities that support Open Streets, but ultimately we're collectively working together to build a better neighborhood. And it just, a block party doesn't hurt, that people think of it that way.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all. There's a couple things I need to. A couple things you mentioned. I gotta highlight now. First and foremost, thank you for giving that breakdown of the differences in the Cornerstone West, just so that they know. People who I need to sit down in front of this camera with me. Vanity, expect the call. Ray, yeah, you too. Sarah, of course, you too. You see what I'm saying? Like you see that there's a
It
squad.
is.
I need because y'all all work with different focuses on the initiatives,
Mhm.
right? And I think that people need to know the different styles and the different things that brought you all together in here. I don't know if I can get Paul to sit, but I'm definitely Sarah's a high aim.
We
Vanity and Ray,
can
y'all
get her.
coming next.
We can get her. I promise you, we can get her. We can get the whole squad. Okay.
All
Now,
right, listen,
now I do want
manifest it.
to know. I'm gonna put you in a little secret now because I know he's watching. Ray Parker. He's no longer with us at Cornerstone, but
Oh, that
he's
was
still
fast.
so listen. He's doing his work. He at United Way, and he's now doing economic development with United Way.
Oh,
So even if
okay.
he was a part of the team, and we miss him dearly, he is still doing the work. We still are connecting. He's on a video. I did see him on here earlier. I saw him last night. That's my man.
That's fine. He still got to talk to me. That's fine. Whatever capacity we need to talk, we can.
So,
But
so we can make it
yeah,
happen.
yes. Now, also, other things that you mentioned that I have to highlight. Now, open streets, the dopest thing. I want people to be aware of this, and I want to pull this out. People do think of it like a block party, like, oh, wow. They don't realize as much that you are highlighting the differences in some of the things you do in the streets, right? Like you're working with um, the darts and the different pretty much the different organizations through the government to a certain extent to kind of change certain things of the neighborhood to make it easier. When I was like, oh, again, adding the bike lane, slowing things down, adding some shrubbery, making it pretty, all that. Like everybody's like, oh, it's a fun block party where people play, but it's also a moment to show off all the changes, right? What are some of the things that go into making that moment happen?
Oh man. So I do want to also say that Vanity is going to be spearheading Open Streets this year. I'm actually stepping back and I'm letting Vanity and Laura and the steering committee, like that is the sauce for this year Open Streets. And I'm so excited just to support. And so one of the things that I was a part of is Boehner Boulevard. We know that Boehner Boulevard was a 4 lane, two southbound, two northbound, high speed. People thought it was a speed race. And so with Open Streets and the support of the Jefferson Street Center and Urban Bike Project and all of the other steering committee organizations, we were able to temporarily put some changes on Boehner Boulevard. So it went from a 4 lane to a 2 lane. One side was a bike lane, and then the other side was parking. And we're talking about residents who live on Boehner Boulevard did not have parking in front of their homes. And so we were able to do something so dramatic to a very small, intimate place, and that's Concord Avenue to the bridge of these. This is a residential. And so a lot of people saw it as a freeway to just fly through. And we're talking about people are being hurt on this. And so with the changes of Boehner Boulevard, we have noticed that the speed has went down dramatically. There is now a beautiful bus stop that I've seen children just playing at. I've seen people using the bike lanes, southbound and northbound. People are now going to local businesses that are on a corner like Scout. Like it's a community again. And I'm not saying it was never a community, it's just more pronounced. And with Open Streets, the support of Open Streets and Del Dot and Will Mapco and Living Lab and all of these organizations, like all of these people at the table made this happen. The city of Wilmington agreeing to these crazy ideas that we're just throwing out here to see if this makes sense for the community. And then the community is in agreement. And so I do want to say that everything that we do It's from the community. We talk to the community about what they want and what they need. And we're just here, we're the willing workers. We're just here to make it happen. We're here to raise the funds. We're here to show up in places that people may not want to. We're here to advocate for those changes. So, Open Streets is such a close thing to my heart, and I love so much, and it's so exhausting on my body, and I'm so excited to see someone else take this on. But I won't be missing Open Street, so best believe I'll be there. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Vanity and Laura and Sarah and the rest of the team brings for 2025.
Absolutely. Now, do you know how to, from your experience, how did y'all pick the streets?
So recently we started asking the community. It has been a conversation. So we've been doing it on Facebook. We've been doing a polling. We'll send out you can pick a location, please sign up. That was one of the ways that we started getting people to engage. And we also went to community leaders. So we sent it out to a list of different community leaders and said, hey, if you know of a location that is high pack, high traffic area, please suggest like the next Open Streets. And so we did that over the last couple of years. Again, social media helped us as well. And people really responded. People were like, hey, come to my neighborhood. People are doing the most, or they suggested another neighborhood. It came out of various ways. And then from there, we did a poll. We did a poll internally in committee, and there's 12 members, 12 different organizations. And so we did a blind test, like who went where should we be? And so once we did that, people started selecting. And so like this year, I know we're doing Walnut Street. A lot of people are going to miss us on Boehner Boulevard, but we're not doing Boehner Boulevard this year, you guys. That's a hard one because we've been doing Boehner Boulevard every year, and I love Boehner. So we have Walnut, we have Bauer, we have 4th Street. What else we have? And we're doing only 4 events this year. Again, I don't know because I'm not knee deep in it. I'm here and there. I'm support. So it's really based off the community. Communities tell us where they think we should be at, and that's where we go.
Excuse me. Now, that to me that's amazing. I think that effort is dope. I'm very curious, if they wind up doing one on the place that they call the bucket. If y'all don't know what the bucket is, don't worry about it. But I am curious.
Bucket 26.
I just want to. I'm just curious if that. Like, never mind. I just want to. I'll pull up. I want to see it happen. I want to see it. But now, with that said, is there a connection between Open Streets and Play Streets?
Oh, so listen. This is the $1 million question, okay? All right. So they are two different entities. I want to make that very clear. We are two different. Play Streets is Rashima Dixon. We love her. We miss her. But her father, Mr. Dixon, amazing. Okay. He has stepped in those shoes of supporting and making sure that her vision is seen. And so Play Streets is also supported by the city of Wilmington. And so they have play equipments. They only shut down one block. And so they go into smaller areas like Jefferson Street in front of Harlan Elementary. They go into different neighborhoods, and they are intentional to shut down one block. But they also support Open Streets. And so again, Open Streets is a different initiatives where we're really trying to take back our community, but also educate community members about the safety and how can we do that with, maybe getting rid of potholes or what type of beautification. So it's another layer to Open Streets. And so us working collaboratively together, that's how we're able to put on Open Streets, because Play Streets support us. And Mr. Dixon, if you've ever been to Open Streets, he shows up with this massive truck, and he pulls out his grill, and he's doing hot dogs and hamburgers and giving away t-shirts, and it's an array of different things that he does. But then we have the play equipment right next to him, and it's intentional because again, that is Play Streets equipment. but they give it to us for open streets. And so it's a really close relationship. And Mr. Dixon also sits on our steering committee as well, too.
Okay, okay. Listen, the amount of clarity that's coming from this episode, anytime somebody start asking you questions, just send them the link. So it's like we working through some things here. Now, with that said, okay, right? Boom. So we got that. By the way, also shouts out to Elize. She was on here a couple weeks ago. She's a part of the collective of artists that painted the mural. So I want to make sure I shout her out as well. Now, okay, so you're doing these things, right? But before this, you had Just Play. Like, you had Just Play before you was having spaces for people to just play. Okay?
Yes.
Like, right? Before they could just play, you had Just Play. Okay? What kind of made you start Just Play that way, or to get that deep in
it? Being a parent. And we all parent, you have to stay on your toes with your children. You have to keep them occupied as much as possible, because if not, they're going to keep you occupied. And also tied into being a social worker, of just being out in the community and just being a counselor or whatever I was at that point. And I would see things on message boards of like free access to a carnival or something to do with your children, and I would just randomly take my kids. And so again, I just kept on going to these things, and I would post pictures of after fact, and people were trying to figure out how I was able to do what I was doing. And I was honest. I was like, I can't afford to pay 4 times for these kids and myself to go to do everything. And no, I can't do it. And I'm talking about to even go to the movies. Movies at that point in time were what, $8? You do 8 times 4 plus myself. As an adult, I was 10. And then you want popcorn, you want drinks, you want candy. It adds up very fast. And so I got savvy. I started finding ways that, oh, you do Tuesdays movies, it's like $2. Oh, we going to the movies on Tuesdays. I can go to the carnival with passes, and all I gotta do is, watch a 13-minute movie. Like, I got creative. And so when I started finding ways that I was doing it, I wanted to make sure that parents and guardians and anyone that was in a child's life was able to do that. And so that's how Just Play came out, is that I wanted to be a resource. And I wanted to make sure that if you need something to do, go on Just Play. You can go on our Facebook, our social media pages, which is Instagram. We had a website. Like, I wanted to make sure that you knew that you didn't have to break the bank to entertain your child or children.
And the beauty of that for me, and I need anybody watching this, you in the back. Anytime that you have a thing that you like, wait, how do I figure this out? Yeah, if there's a way for you to share it with the world, you may wind up being a resource for people and something that you didn't even know how useful it could be.
Yeah.
To the world. Like, opened up doors. I don't know when you got to sleep. That feels like a lot to do.
It wasn't. Honestly, it became second nature to me. Because again, I found things for me and my kids to do. I got creative, especially with COVID happening. Me and my youngest, we would go to the park and paint in the park. We would take the leaves off the ground. We use that as our stencils, and we would sit at the table and we would paint. And then I would tell parents, like, have y'all been to the park today? And, those are resources that are obtainable, cheap, inexpensive. I used some paint from the dollar store. We got really crafty. I even brought back home economics in my house. And at one point, I had all my children sitting around a table, and I gave them small little bowls, and I gave them smaller portions of the things that we were making, which could have been cookies or brownies or whatever. Like, we just did things collectively where it wasn't expensive and it wasn't far-fetched outside of my norm.
Wow. Okay. Now, see, this is what I like about this. Now, shouts out. This is why she's a Her Legacy winner, okay? And I didn't make it. This is just why the awards flew out, okay? But now I feel like you work with families, you work with the people, you did a lot, and then all of a sudden, you choose to be a part of the Wilmington Learning Collaborative as well. Like, did you wind up connecting some of that information to be a part of the Women to Learning Collaborative, or was it just you had kids, so you like might as well help? Like, how did that happen?
Well, my husband. So we have two children in the Brandywine School District, and I heard about this thing called the Women to Learning Collaborative, but I didn't know much. And he kept on telling me how me being a part of the seat at this table would be a game changer. And he kept on trying to convince me. And I kept on saying, no, I'm not interested. I kept on turning it down. And then it was one day I ended up talking to the principal at my daughter's school, and I was impressed by the information she gave me. And I brought it back to my husband. I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna put my hat out there. And I applied for the board. And I had two interviews with the superintendent and some staff members from the school. And so from there, I guess they like the conversation, my interest. And so that's how I became a part of the WLC board. And so I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm gonna be honest, as a parent representative who do not come from the educational world working in it, I find it difficult at times. And there is a lot of terminology that they speak so fluently amongst themselves, because you work in this world, like you can say, I know what an IEP, but I'm gonna just say like IEP and SATs. Like if you're using acronyms, I don't understand it, because again, I don't live and eat and breathe education all day. So I come at a disadvantage. So some of those things do stop me from asking questions, because I'm sitting here, I'm honing in on what they're trying to say. Oh, did I lose you? I hope I didn't.
There we go. Sorry about that. I was having tech. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
I, I can hear you. Can
Now,
you hear me?
yes. Thank
Okay.
goodness. Now, but I do want to ask this.
I don't
You
know
said
how much you got.
I'm good. I think so. We should be good.
Okay.
No, well, I think I got it all. So, but I think I need to add, I need to ask, what are some of the things now? People from the outside looking in, we don't know what, if I don't know what the Women to Learning Collaborative actually does. So to know what you do with it is even harder to know.
All right. Don't put it down. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Because you went out for a little bit. Now, what is it that you asked me?
I say I don't know exactly what the Women to Learning Collaborative does. So to
Okay.
know what you do with it is even more difficult.
Got So I am a parent representative for the Brandywine School District. And so that just means that on behalf of the limited schools inside of the city of Wilmington's borders, which is Harlan Elementary, and right now it's just Harlan Elementary represented in the WLC, and that's the school that I represent for Brandywine School District.
Mm.
And so that just means I advocate for what we are looking for from the school. And so it is a twofold. And not just only with going back to the WLC and trying to advocate from a parent perspective, I'm also trying to advocate with other parents in mind. And so I enjoy talking to my parents that are within the Brandywine School District that goes to Harlan Elementary, and also vice versa. And it's a I go to these board meetings. I try to understand what we're having tasks for the day, and then going back and talking to our residents that did not make it or couldn't attend. And so I'm just trying to be that bridge in between. And I hope I'm able to convey that when I go and speak at the WLC, but also when I go and speak at Harlan, because I know not every parent can show up and be up to date of what's going on every single time we have a board meeting, or every time we have some type of event in the community with the WLC. So I hope that one day we can bridge that. And it's not just only me, it's the collective of the WLC initiative. And people are understanding that we're not trying to permanently make an impact on a community that will be detrimental, but will benefit us. We all talk about how our schools are inefficient. We talk about how resources are limited. We talk about how people are not held accountable. And at this moment, I think we have an opportunity to do so. And this is coming out of the Wilmington Learning Collaborative. It is coming out of these forethought conversation and innovations through Dr. Burgos and her amazing team at the WLC, and these superintendents that are really open to these changes, because it's not just only Brandywine School District that's sitting at this table. We have Red Clay, and Red Clay is an amazing school and an amazing school district, but no district is perfect. I'm gonna be honest. No district is perfect, but everyone is being open and willing to make some changes. And that's where it starts. We have to make some changes. We have to call out the status quo, and we have to see some new people to make some decisions. And that's where Dr. Burgos is coming in at.
Okay, see now you done said some things here. You cooking, right? And to my knowledge from what was in the comments, y'all can't see the comments if you're watching the replay, but it did state there are 9 schools that are a part of the Wilmington Learning Collaborative, and you let me know if I'm wrong, because this is how I take it, right? There's all these school districts, right? Boom, but and in Delaware, if you watch this from out of state, wherever the case may be, we have a whole feeder pattern for how kids get to school. Bing, boom. So it can come from wherever, right? It gets a little mixy. But in the city, there might be certain needs for some of the schools that are specifically in Wilmington to thrive. Yes. And this is where we hint having the Wilmington Learning Collaborative specifically to kind of hone in on some of those schools to give them what they need. Is that how that works?
Well, we also want to make sure that our students are not being bussed for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, one way to get to school. You know, someone in the city of Wilmington shouldn't be bussed out to Middletown, and vice versa. So you're right. It is a feeder pattern. We are looking at how we can support to make sure that it's realistic for not just only a student, but a parent, because this is a twofold way. Like, we have to remember that a kid goes to school, you have 2 parents. So however that may look like with support, they will show up at some point. And so we have to make sure that attendance is top priority. And how do we make sure that our children are learning and thriving if they're not showing up to school on time, or if they're not showing up to school at all? And you can't get to school if your school is in Middletown or you live in a city. These are things that are hurdles. And so once we start removing those barriers, we could really see a difference in our children thriving.
All right, listen, again, if y'all don't know, cooking, grease, hot coals, we cooking. All right, I put some fresh chicken on the grill right now for this conversation. But we're getting into it. So, right, and I gotta ask you this, right, with the Learning Collaborative, with the things that you know, what are some of the initiatives that you know of the Learning Collaborative, right? The world is getting crazy in Delaware schools. Yeah. The Delaware school thing is getting nuts right now. like some of the stuff that, you know, with some of the teachers, some of the administrators was getting a little crazy, a little wild.
It is. And you know what?
Spooky out here.
So we have the Maurice Pritchett Academy, which is a beautiful, beautiful school. And so we now have, again, that school is amazing if you haven't been to the Maurice Pritchett Academy. But we also have the Chill Room. And this is where Dr. Burgos wanted to take this initiative that she's seen somewhere else and immerse it into our school. And so there has been a little bit of pushback for the Chill Room, but it's not exactly what you think it is. It's not where kids are just sitting there putting up their feet, Netflix and chilling. Like, it's not that. It is really a room, a beautiful space that is honed into peace, serenity. You also have some mental health workers there to support our children, because we got to remember, all of them are coming through a different walk of life, and you don't know what a child had to go through just to even walk in the door at 7:30 in the morning, what they have to go home to at 2:30 in the afternoon. So having a room like the Chill Room gives them the opportunity to decompress, speak with a therapist or a mental health specialist to support them as they go on this journey that they call a life. And so the Chill Room is one initiative. We have the ELTs. And so that is where the schools, the different schools that are part of the WLC, like Harlan is one of them. We have the principal, we have the superintendent, we have teachers, and we have other educator paraprofessionals that are a part of the ELTs, where they're coming up with new initiatives to present back to the school that they could do to see a difference. One of the things that I noticed this year as a parent, and not as a WLC board member, and I'm talking about as a parent, I've seen the increase of the attendance at Harlan. And I'm talking about 98, 97, 99, 95. I'm talking about the 90s, the high 90s of our attendance going up. I'm talking about kids are excited and holding their parents accountable for getting them to school. They're making them say, if I don't get to school, I'm going to miss all the things that's going on. And so when kids are excited to go to school, it is a place where they can learn. And we can't hold these kids accountable for not passing a standardized test if they ain't been to school. You can't study for something if you ain't prepared for it. So showing
Mm.
up is the first step of really knocking down these barriers. And I can see Harlan is attentive about that. The Brandywine School District is. I see all of the schools are making these initiatives as their soul, like they're taking this on. And I commend them for doing that. Because again, we didn't get here overnight. None of these people that are in office, I'm sorry, are in the school district at the moment put us here. And so we have to remember that we could throw blame. It's so easy for us to throw blame, right? It's so easy for us to say, oh, you did this, but you didn't do it. The status quo did it. The people, places, and things before we were here did this. And so how do we start breaking this down? And one of it is, how do we hold ourselves accountable? And we've been doing that. A lot of people are showing up. Teachers are showing up to the WLC meetings. Paraprofessionals are showing up, and they are voicing what they want to see. And I love to see them when they take that time to speak to us and tell us what we should do and what we should. I welcome it, because it can't be just one person that advocates for change. We as a collective have to do it. And when I tell you, when I see not just only my daughter, but other students at Harlan say, oh, I gotta go to school on time. I gotta go to school on time. Like, this is what I'm hearing from the students, because they get excited. There are so many things that these initiatives that's coming out of the ELTs, the kids want to show up because they don't want to miss those opportunities. We have bedtime story every Thursday night with Harlan, and Harlan principal gets on with her staff, and they have a guest reader that just read a book. And it's almost every student from Harlan shows up on a Zoom call, and they are so excited to hear a story. And I'm talking about, you come with your plushy animal, you can eat dinner, whatever you're doing, and just tune in and listen to someone read a book for 15 minutes. And the kids are so excited that they get to have bedtime story. And now my daughter, whenever she hears bedtime story from anybody else, she's like, how do they know about our bedtime stories? People should know about our bedtime stories. And I'm like, it's not just yours. Everyone has bedtime stories. But Harlan has made it their initiative to do something so small, of doing Zoom every single Thursday night for a half an hour with kids and their family. And it's so impactful.
Mm. Now, I do think that that is amazing to me, right? As stated, a true village. It shows the community in the city. It brings people together in that way. Are there some collaborations that you want to happen or that you're looking forward to hopefully being able to make connections with?
With the WLC or just in general?
We can do both. I'm open. I don't want to limit you.
You know, so I'm a little biased right now. Like, my collaborations at this moment, those dreams are coming true. So I don't have anything in my personal life outside of like the things I'm working on at this moment. And so I see those things coming to true. Like I see those happening. So I'm not going to spill the beans just yet because I'm working on some things, but be on the lookout. As far as the WLC and even with Habitat, like I think that the more we work with the community, the more we can do better. And so we have to move with a listening ear and an open heart. And the WLC in particular has done a great job of working with like Children and Family First and all of the school districts and meeting other organizations to support them. But even one thing that I would like to see happen, we have this organization called the EEAs. And that is the, am I going to butcher the name? I probably will. The education ambassador, educator, I don't know, the EEA. I know the acronym. I'm going to get it to you. But me and my husband was a part of it. And it is for the parents of the WLC. And it's a safe space for you to learn the ins and outs of how a school is ran, understanding what Title I is, understanding how funds are spent and allocated in your school and inside of the district, how to advocate for other students. If you see something, you say something. Like the EEAs is an amazing program that I think gave me the fire for me to go towards the WLC and for me not to give up when I get frustrated and feel like I don't understand. And so that's one thing I want, families to take away. If you don't hear anything else, like find a safe space that you can grow and learn about what's happening around you, because you have a right to know and ask questions. And if you don't look stupid asking. So ask, and, don't hold on to anything. And so EEAs is that organization. Is a part of the ACLU at this moment. I know they will be moving at some point, but until then, you can definitely explore that option. But also, you can explore the option of coming to the WLC board meetings. We have them hybrid, so you can participate online or you can come in person. We do offer childcare, so you can come and have your children in a safe space next to you as you're participating in the WLC board meetings. But also question your schools. Question on what else are y'all doing? How are you showing up?
Shouts out to the Education Equity Ambassadors. That's EEA, Education Equity Ambassador Program.
Thank you.
Shouts out to all those involved with that. If you are in a different place, by the way, that is not a Delaware exclusive program. They can have different versions of that around the country. So get to making some phone calls, figuring out what the movement is in your area to make some things happen. This has been an awesome conversation. I didn't even get to Habitat. At some point, and you got some stuff happening anyway. So we'll come back at some point and we're gonna just keep cooking. There's more. I still got steaks in the back. So we're gonna circle back to some of them steaks. But okay,
I'm open.
what I like to ask good. What I like to ask all of my guests, and I'm very curious for some wise words. If you had to give advice to a younger version of yourself, younger version of you, twinkle, twinkle, little star. You see what I'm saying? What advice would you give? But the year is still 2025.
Oh,
So all the 2025 things is happening, but just a little star running around, figuring it out. What advice would you give to a younger version of yourself in 2025?
well, I will start off to tell myself that one, you are loved. You are loved in a space, and that sometimes it might not look that way because it can be difficult in the space and doors may shut in your face. But no, one, you are protected by God. And then two, that you have a bigger calling on your life and it's not done yet. You are meant to be a bridge. You are meant to be fluent and fill the gaps and make sure that the unvoiced is heard and that you're able to advocate on their behalf. I will also tell myself to invest, continue to keep investing, invest in myself, invest in the stock market, invest, invest in your education. Surround yourself with people that truly love you and want to see nothing but the best. Make sure that you are pouring back into others as they reciprocate that and pour back into you. And just remember that It's not meant to be easy, because if it was, everyone would do it. It's meant to have hurdles. It's meant to be challenging. And so it makes you stronger. It makes your armor tougher. And so if you know who you are, you got this.
Listen, look, everybody, if you watching this, look down. Pick the gym up. Pick up the gym. They were just dropped. They're everywhere. It's raining gyms. It's raining gyms. Okay, all these gyms out. Oh, that was phenomenal. And you have earned another shameless plug. Do you want to plug the Brandywine School District situation? Go ahead. You can get that for a second if you want to. Go ahead. Get a quick plug in.
Well, listen, like, I want people to know that there's an opportunity for you to know what's going on with the WLC. I want you to follow the Wilmington Learning Collaborative on Facebook and Instagram. Go to our website. Stay abreast of what's going on. Ask questions, and then attend our board meetings. Don't shy away from any question. If you have it, you have an opportunity to express that at the beginning of all board meetings, and that could be hybrid or in person again. But also speak to your schools, like, ask them questions. I have learned so much in this year than I ever learned in my life as a parent. We have so much rights, and I want to emphasize that rights for our children that are in these schools. We don't have to send them there and just accept the status quo. If you don't like how your child is being taught or how someone is treating them, advocate. That's the only difference that you will see moving forward, is if you advocate. And so these schools, they want to see a difference also in parents. They want to see different parents. They don't want to see the same parents showing up at PTA. They want to see new faces. So if you have the opportunity to go to the school on your downtime and express interest of volunteering, or just being a part of staying after and talking 5 minutes to a new parent that you didn't even meet, it makes a difference. Because I promise you, they're watching.
Now, just so y'all know, she said advocate for your kids. Don't just start arguing with random teachers because you don't like stuff. There's a difference. Now you know that you know if he bad. You know if he was bad. Talk to your child. Listen, it's a mixture. So it is, and it's supposed to be a collaborative effort in raising and teaching your child. So, like, you do the raising part, they do the teaching part, and y'all work together to make sure that you got a decent human being.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a fact.
You don't drop them off and walk away. No, even though they get them for 8 hours.
They're not babysitters.
No, not at all.
Talk about, hey, Lee, well, listen, this is your turn with them. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Like, it's an ownership. I am the parent, you are the teacher, but we have to collaborate respectfully together. And some days might be some hard days for my child, and some days might be an easy day. But I still got to be able to pick up a phone and call you with respect and figure out what's going on with my kid. And, you know, all 4 of my kids ain't gems, okay? I'm going to let you know that now. I spend more time with one of my kids than most of them. But there is a open communication, and I make sure his teacher know that, you know, if that means me or my husband got to drop what we're doing and sit in that classroom, baby, I'm there.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And Kenyon ready. He's about to be on the board, so he's trying to sit on all the classrooms. So it's ready to go. Now, what I tell people is, if you give me a word, I give you a poem. But before you give me a word, I like to do what I call a quick hat tip. Blip, hold up, blip, blip. That's a quick hat tip. Blip, blip. Quick hat tip. When I tip my hat to some phenomenal people that doing some dope things out there in the community, making some life happen. So, in some different versions, some different areas. Again, so I got to give a quick hat tip. Blip, blip, a quick hat tip. Blip, blip, too. I'm going to go with Richard Raw, Zeke.L. Shouts out to them, hat tip to them for everything that happened in that graduating class of Sankofa. That Sankofa journey, that they moving. It ain't easy, y'all. If y'all don't know, listen, check out everything with the Cultural Restoration Project and what they kind of doing to kind of pour in to them as humans. So again, Ezekiel, at being the teacher, he had to go through the program of the Sankofa Walk itself, and so I got to salute to him and Richard Rowe and Shah Janelle, the whole squad, for what they putting together. Hat tip to them for that. Hat tip, blip blip. So the hat tip, blip blip. To the music by Diane, Darnell Miller, live at the Loft. The whole vibes. They was up there last Saturday getting the on. He does live at the Loft once a month. Creates a whole vibe in the lofts with some local or not as commercialized artists that you may not know, but they put together something dope. So I gotta give a shout out, a hat tip to Darnell Miller and Diane Music. Y'all know what they doing. Stream them now. Great vibe. Also, hat tip, blip blip. So the quick hat tip, blip blip. Listen, the opulent that I was there with me. It was PC Beats. It was Soul Imprint. We was out there. I'm interviewing Grammy winners. Okay, that's what we Delaware Music Network. We was having conversations. Yeah, Delaware got some Grammy winners, y'all. Y'all didn't know it, but listen, we had a conversation about it. So I gotta tip my hat to all of those involved and listen and taste some delicious food. All right, so keep a lookout. You know, listen, I advise you to go ahead and check out the Opulence Grub, because I did. I enjoyed it. Okay, it was delicious. And Blue Tulip also had tip, blip, blip, had tip to Blue Tulip. Listen, I hosted her listening party on Friday. The bops was bopping, shoulders was moving, a lot of Afro beats, a lot of hits, bink to boom. So shouts out to Blue Tulip, everybody that was involved. There was a nice amount of vendors. Her coordinator Shy as well. A lot of people put that together. Hat tip to them. Also, last but not least, quick hat tip again, in case you don't know, to you, blip blip, Miss Starr Wilson, out here making things happen, putting the city on her back though, boom boom, and just walking along, chugging with them, just chugging with the city. So thank you for being a phenomenal guest. Anybody you would like to give a hat tip to?
I'm going back to my shameless plug again for my husband. I wish he was here right now with me, but he is running for a board seat on the Brandywine School District. And so May 13th, everyone has the opportunity to get out and vote at local polling places. This has not been an easy decision to run. This was something that fell on his spirit, on his heart. And so a lot of conversations between me and him and our circle. And so it just made sense that we can't continue to keep advocating for change, but we don't have those people sitting at the table that look like us. And so we want to make sure that all people are heard. And so this is how we start. We make sure that there's space for everyone. And so I'm excited that he has decided to throw his hat into the race. And so again, Kenyon Wilson on May 13th, please vote for the Brandywine School District. And so that's my shameless plug.
There it is. It felt like time for air horns. So with that said, do you have a word for me?
So I can pick any word?
You can pick a couple of them if you want. I don't care.
Okay. All right. So I gotta definitely pick Just Play.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say real estate and the development.
Real estate development. Okay.
I'm gonna just say random words. I'm gonna see what you can do, because I see you flow, but I'm gonna see how you could really, really flow. What else can I say? Because I'm looking at this Foot Locker bag. So Foot Locker. All right. And I'm hungry, so I'm gonna say burger. All right, go with it.
Okay. I'm thinking. Wait, hold on. All right. Okay, I was going to start, but then I had to ask how much they put in on this. Like, when I asked how much skin in the game they had for everybody to win with this, I just want to please be able to bear witness. I need to watch how much they're willing to sacrifice for everybody to be more than nice, be more than kind, but to be their best self. See, I understand that you don't, know the way that it takes for you to win every day. Sometimes it takes for you to be able to breathe. Sometimes you have to be able to sleep. Sometimes you have to stay when you want to leave. And sometimes you have to just play. When I say just play, I don't mean just entertain. I mean find the ways for everyone to be entertained without being lost in the moments when you want to complain. See, that's when it's ready to drive you insane. See, this is when it feels like, how can you deliver something that makes them feel heaven sent? Well, it starts at the foundation of the ground. It starts at the real estate to make sure that the whole state feels like it's going through the proper development, not just revitalization where we lose some of the nation, but this is where we are building up from the interior to stop any of the facades from decaying. See, when I say what I'm saying, I need you to listen close. What is your investment? Like when I ask you what this is, I don't want you to get lost in what you used to do, quoting me how the retro shoes used to fit. No, no, no. We're not walking backwards for this. I need you to be forward in your movement so it won't be a shocker. I need you to understand that what do you have locked in that Foot Locker that we can use for the next generation? I want to know, what are we facing, or is this something that you're doing on a every other weekend, year in type of occasion? How much are you willing to sacrifice? Like, I want to know, are you helping them grow the vegetation, or you just want to see what the burger is like? I want to know, are you ready to go to war, or are you too tired to after your last fight? I want to know, do you know what that fire is that burns inside you, or are you too afraid to follow the light? I want to know how much you have invested in this and if you're willing to give it all for the right. Oh.
Ooh, yes. Come on. Okay.
I felt
Got that.
like you was trying to play with me, so I had to snap. I felt like
Listen,
oh word?
I'm trying to see how you can flow. I see.
like like word? You doing
Come,
this?
come
Okay.
on. I see you. I see
Be getting my bag for us. So we almost had National
you.
Poetry Month. Next week we have Poetry Month. Like, don't play with me.
Yo.
Okay.
Okay. Listen, I wish I had her on tip. Okay. I wish I had her at. Okay. I see you.
Oh man, listen, this has been a phenomenal interview. I thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation. Anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Listen, if you haven't bought your ticket yet to the Delaware Dancing with the Stars, it's this Saturday. Come see myself and my husband and amazing other community leaders and business owner dance the night away. And hopefully we don't break nobody's ankle, because Lord knows we almost had some incidents. But you still have opportunity to get your ticket for Dancing with the Stars. It will be at the Grand Opera House this Saturday. The doors do open up at 6 o'clock. This is a huge fundraiser for the libraries. And so you are supporting a fundraiser. And so we have dancing, music, people come in there. I don't want to say Sunday best, but come in your best of whatever you feel like is your best. So, casket show up. So come dressed, ready to dance, drink, and have a good time. It is a vibe. I've been there myself. And so, again, it is a competition. It is just like what you see for Dancing with the Stars. So we are all vibing for the Mural Ball trophy. And so we'll be taking it home. Just letting y'all know.
Y'all taking home the trophy this year. That's the call
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. I already got space for it.
You already sent over. Okay, so it's going to be so this year on the wall, right? It's going to be your certificate for development certificate,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's going to be I don't know what he gets for being the on the chair, right? But he, whatever he get for that, right? I assume it's a little trophy for the Brandywine School District Board. So he gonna get something for the board.
Yeah.
But listen, we not who cares? I'm saying it's
Okay.
going to be. It's a board. They give him a board. Why not?
Okay.
So you're gonna get a board. You gonna get your development certificate, and you're gonna have a dancing with the stars situation all together, all at the crib.
Yes. That's blessings on top of blessings.
Okay, this is how we manifest in 2025. Okay,
Of course. Again, we started off the conversation and said, I'm all of it. I'm not just one. We pull back this layer. We understand that onions have multiple layers, and I do. And so does my family. and
That's a fact. That's a fact. Listen, so y'all be prepared because last year I thought Malcolm was going to win and he didn't. That didn't look the way that I thought it was going to look. So y'all got to go there to get your revenge for your squad.
oh,
Okay.
definitely. And we are doing the tango. So
Oh, okay. There it is. And they're gonna have extra flowers in the two-step too. It's a whole thing.
okay.
The world's flyest library, by the way. If they don't know, Women's Library. Shouts out
So
to them. Hat tip to them as well. Yes. All right. Thank you again for joining the show. This has been phenomenal. This is Hats Off with your boy G-Jones. Next week I am back with the artist Aleem. If y'all don't know Aleem, y'all gonna get to know him. That'll be an interesting one. With that said, I like to tell people always, as always, love yourself first and everything else will fall into place. This is Hats Off with your boy G-Jones. Hey.